Boom, we're back, baby. Why does it take so long in between these videos? I don't know, maybe because I packed up a car and drove across country and moved to New York City. Hello. What's going on, everybody? It is me. It is your host. This is the Film Club, and I'm Carson Higgins, and this is Groot. He made it in the car. He made it to New York City. We finally watched the movie that I picked weeks ago, and we're here. We finally watched it. We're finally settled in. We're getting back into the swing of things, and we did it. We watched the movie. We watched a great movie. Maybe not like a great movie, like you don't need to teach a class on it, but as far as finding, maybe things that have been collecting dust in the pantheon of film watching, this particular film on Letterboxd, for example, shout out to Letterboxd. If you're not on Letterboxd, it's a movie nerd paradise. Anyway, it's only got like 1,000 plus people that have logged this movie, so it's kind of going under the radar, y'all, and we watched it in this club. So hopefully, if you haven't joined me in watching it, hopefully you can get on the Criterion Channel where it's streaming and check it out for yourself. We watched a Japanese film because it had been a while. I was like, I haven't been to Japan in a minute. Let's go to Japan and watch something cool. So I picked a director who I really like, Kon Ichikawa, who is famous for films that I haven't seen. He famously made a movie called Fires on the Plains, or it's either Fire on the Plains or Fires on the Plains. Anyway, he made that. He made a film called The Burmese Harp. These are like 1950s black and white Japanese movies. And then in the 60s, he kind of crushed it when he made the Tokyo Olympiad documentary. So maybe you've seen footage from that. Maybe you've watched this documentary before. Anyway, Kon Ichikawa is the man. He did a film that we did watch in this club once upon a time called An Actor's Revenge, which that movie is really dope. If you haven't checked that out, and if you are a fan of revenge films, if you're a fan of Japanese films, it's really something. But we watched one of his lighter films for this particular pick. We watched a film called Being Two Isn't Easy. And man, Being Two isn't easy. I don't remember Being Two, but I've heard parents call Being Two terrible. It's the terrible twos. And our little hero, Taro, is an adorable little cutie pie. He's getting ready to celebrate his second birthday. Now, this film is pretty much, I thought it was going to be more from his perspective, but we do deal quite a bit with the parents and what they're going through in this sort of post-war, renewed Japan, and trying to sort of be a modern couple and modern parents, and what does that mean? And so we're getting their perspective on what does this little baby want? I don't know what he's trying to say, but we, the audience, we're the lucky ones, and we get to hear a little narration, a little voiceover on what's going through my boy Taro's head. And he is just the sweetest little kid, man. He's just trying to play and have a good time. And with any young parents, maybe if you're a young parent, maybe you know this feeling. I've only ever seen it happen, either in a movie or from a friend or something, but it can be scary. They just hand you a little baby and go, don't fuck this up. And this particular couple is trying really hard. They're trying really hard to be good parents, and they don't want to screw this up. This film, I don't know if it was directly the inspiration for, but it certainly is the inspiration for the 1989 movie, Look Who's Talking, with John Travolta and Kirstie Alley, and Bruce Willis is the voice of the little baby. Very similar. However, that film is a little bit more of a straight-up comedy. This film is a dramedy. It's humorous, and there's humor to be found within it. But it does pack a little bit of a punch, man. It's like it deals with life and death. It deals with fear. It deals with all kinds of things. And there's so many cute little moments. I know that very few people have actually seen this movie, so I don't want to get too into the details of what happens. I will say there are some great moments where we get to have sort of Taro's imagination on full display. He looks up at the crescent moon in the sky and says, "Banana moon." And the parents think that's adorable, and we see the moon. And then all of a sudden this 3-minute little animation happens where the moon in fact becomes a banana, and does all kinds of sort of psychedelic stuff. Like it was a pretty neat sequence to just have kind of in the middle of this hour-and-a-half long movie. But there are little fun things like that. There's a great scene where Taro gets lost at a theme park or something, and it's sort of like him with all the other crying kids that got lost, and we're hearing the voiceover of each kid and like, why did my mom forget me? Like, what the fuck? So there are things about it that are just really sweet and really cool. As far as like a family drama goes, it was great. I mean, I feel like Noah Baumbach, it would make this movie set in New York, and it would be just as good. Maybe not just as good. It would be pretty good though. But yeah, there's a whole section where we deal with him forming a bond with his grandmother, who maybe babies him a little too much, and how that affects the mother, and she's not digging that her mother-in-law is kind of taking control and raising her baby in a way that she wouldn't really like. And so there's all sorts of little interfamilial dramas taking place. But I just think that it's definitely worth checking out. If you're familiar with the Criterion Channel, maybe you've seen some of the picks on the Saturday Matinees, which tend to be like more family-friendly classic films. This is where I found that. That's how I picked this. I just went on there and said, I'm down for something that's not so fucking heavy, and I specifically wanted to go to Japan. So I got to cross those off, and love any excuse to get more familiar with Kon Ichikawa's filmography, because he's awesome. I gotta watch his two famous movies, Burmese Harp and Fire on the Plains, or however you say it. Anyway, it's so good to be back. I'm keeping it short because the movie's short, and I don't want to spoil anything. So just go ahead and check out Being Two Isn't Easy when you get a chance, and it's a delight. And we'll get a new pick going. We're gonna stick to our word, aren't we, Groot? We're gonna watch movies every week. So be on the lookout for more films coming from us. Follow Filmstruck Film Club so that you can be up to date with what we're picking. And I look forward to seeing you there. Shout out to the Vista Theater, Quentin Tarantino. It's one of the LA things I miss, but you know what? We'll be all right. You'll be all right. I'll talk to you soon.